Are we ready?
Glasses, I got reading glasses.
Let's get it rolling.
Seeing glasses.
Good afternoon, everyone. Call to order our city council meeting scheduled for today, October 9th. Roll call, Ms. Adams.
Mayor Clea McCaw.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Carolyn Humphrey.
Present.
Councilmember Faye Jackson. Councilmember Ken Kilmurray.
Present.
Councilmember Angelica Landry.
Present.
Councilmember Brian Myers.
Present.
Councilmember Mark Rodriguez.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll have our invocation by Father Gray of the St. Andrew's Catholic Church, and after he is completed, we'll have a pledge of allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem Humphrey. Please stand.
Eternal God, source and sustainer of all, how good it is to be here. To be here in the name of your Son, who came not to be served, but to serve and to give himself. This council, these elected servants, and their co-workers in public service have each in their own way and through their unique talents joined together to build up this community which we call home. This evening they ask for the gift of vision, a vision that will sustain them in the long and often tedious tasks of studying and planning. They ask for strength to see the vision through to completion and not become discouraged. They ask for wisdom to weigh and measure all options and choose not simply what is good, but what is best. They ask for courage to make decisions that move them and us, this community, beyond political expediency and quick fixes to practical exercises of justice, doing the right thing for all concerned. They ask for the gift of good counsel and for the humility to accept whomever and however that counsel comes to them. They ask for the ability to hear those among us whose voices are the weakest, sometimes the hardest to hear. They ask for integrity, so that at the end of life's day, they may hear you say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." And we ask with them that you would continue to bless us to be a blessing. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father Gray. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We have item number 1, Councilman Amiri.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the agenda for the regular city council meeting of October 9th, 2025 be approved as written.
Second. We properly moved in second. Any discussion items? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, it is passed. Tonight we have a couple presentations and proclamation, and we'll have a staff report. Ms. Cameron.
All right. Thank you, Mayor and members of council. Happy to be here tonight. Did you know that until 1988, women needed a male relative in order to sign for a small business loan as a cosigner? Women in business have certainly come a long way since then. According to the Small Business Administration, women-owned businesses now represent 42% of all U.S. businesses and generate over $2.1 trillion in revenue to the American economy. Sierra Vista is proud to be the home of many fantastic women-owned businesses and entrepreneurs and recognizes the positive impact they have on our community and on our rural economy. As such, we seek to join in the nationwide recognition of National Women in Business Week.
And we have a proclamation from the City of Sierra Vista. Whereas the City of Sierra Vista recognizes and values the local contributions, economic impact, dedication, and entrepreneurial spirit of women-owned businesses within our community. And whereas the City of Sierra Vista identifies the critical role that women-owned businesses play in enhancing economic growth, creating jobs, developing new innovations, in fostering a vibrant, inclusive, and diverse community. Whereas the first observance of National Business Women's Week was held in April 1928 and first proclaimed by President Herbert Hoover in October 1938. And whereas the City of Sierra Vista recognizes and joins in this national effort to be committed to advancing economic opportunities for women, promoting the importance of history of the American working woman, and supports continued initiatives that promote leadership roles and professional fairness for women in business. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Cleo McCaw, Mayor of Sierra Vista, Arizona, do hereby proclaim October 13th through the 17th Women in Business Week in and for the City of Sierra Vista, in witness whereof I have hereto set my hand and caused the great seal of the City of Sierra Vista be affixed this 9th day of October in the year of our Lord 2025 in the independence of the United States 249. Cleo McCaw, Mayor.
All right. So as part of Women in Business Week for the City of Sierra Vista, just as we do with the other 4 small business awards and weeks of recognition, we like to tie that with some recognition for our local businesses here that are making an impact. So to that regard, we'd like to invite Dawn Tuthill, her team and guests, and Mr. Scott Kruger, Economic Development Commission Chairperson, and any other members of the Economic Development Commission that we have here this evening to join us.
Today, the City of Sierra Vista and the members of the Economic Development Commission join in the celebration of the contributions of our local women-owned businesses. After a careful consideration of all business recognition nomination, Ash Canyon Soaps has been selected by the Sierra Vista Women-Owned Business of the Year for their unique role, impact, and dedication to the community as expressed by their clients and employees. On the certificate, during this Women in Business Week, we recognize the perseverance, achievements, contributions, and value of women-owned businesses in our community. The City of Sierra Vista congratulates Ash Canyon Soaps on this well-deserved recognition. We thank you for doing business here and wish you many years of continued.
Business in the newsletter. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Diana. Congratulations. And looking forward to some more soaps. Excellent. We'll go to our next item, City Manager Report, sir.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw, members of the council. Your next regularly scheduled work session is scheduled for Tuesday, October 21st, 3 p.m. here in the council chambers. And then, of course, your next regular council meeting is scheduled for Thursday, the 23rd, 5 p.m., also here in the council chambers. Just a short report tonight. Our request for proposals for firefighter and medical evaluations were received, and then the award went to Dr. Wild, and that contract is being worked out right now. The request for proposals for employee health benefits broker consultant had a pre-proposal conference on September 11th with 3 interested firms, and those proposals are due on October 13th. So hopefully by the next meeting I'll have the results of that. We had no JPA meeting for CCOM this morning, as we usually do for a lack of agenda items. And I am awaiting the August sales tax numbers, and hopefully I'll have those to you by the next meeting. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you, Mayor McCaw.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments to our city manager? We'll proceed on. Item number 2, Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, I move that the consent agenda consisting of the minutes of the work session meeting of September 23rd, 2025, the special city council meeting of September 25th, 2025, the regular meeting of September 2025 be approved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it is passed. We'll go to our public hearing items. Item number 3, Councilwoman Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2025-078, an interim period transfer for a limited liability type Series 6 liquor license for Kevin Arnold Cramber on behalf of Luau's Enterprises Incorporated, doing business as High Heat Sports Grill, be approved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Staff report, Ms. Adams.
Mayor McCaw, members of council, this application submitted by Mr. Cramber on behalf of High Heat Sports Grill was received by the clerk's office about a month ago. We posted the notice of this public hearing on the facility, and to date, no comments have been received pro or con from the public. The background check, the police department runs a background check on all applicants for liquor licenses that council votes on, and they have no objection to this moving forward. If approved tonight, it will be delivered back to the liquor board electronically tomorrow and hopefully issued quickly for them.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions, discussion items? Ms. Jill? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it is passed. Item number 4, Councilman Myers.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the resolution 2025-079 amendments to Chapter 110 Business License and Chapter 113 Transient Merchants Solicitors of the City Code and declaring a 30-day public record be approved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Staff report, Ms. Adams.
Mayor McCaw, members of council, this item before you tonight is essentially the first reading of amendments to Chapters 110 and 113 of the City Code. The business license code was last updated in 2013, and over the course of the last 12 years, practices, procedures, businesses, and the world has changed quite a bit. So we did a very intensive rewrite of the code to primarily clarify and make it easier for our public to understand, because there was some confusion on applicants and business owners, and to slim it down and just make it more usable for everyone. So the main changes in the business license section were that we removed a large section that related to temporary use businesses like carnivals and fairs and shows, primarily because those are addressed in another part of the code, in the Community Development Code, for temporary use permits. So it was kind of saying the same thing in two different sections, so we were letting them handle it because it's not anything that we actually participated in for the process. We also adjusted the date by which we issue licenses. Used to be when we would issue a license for the city to renew cost $50. And if a business got a new license in November, we would roll over those 2 months and issue them for the next year, because we don't prorate. And so it was kind of not fair. When we changed to the new system with Citizen Serve, the decision was made that we would just roll that back to a quarter. It just made sense. So we gave an extra month. So all new licenses that are issued after October 1st actually get 15 months for their first year license fee. So we're kind of giving people a break a little bit there. We revised and clarified the language that relates to the tax exempt, the businesses that are eligible to have their fees exempted from the city. And what they are is any tax exempt nonprofit organization who has government documentation of that status can request a waiver of fees, and we will grant that. So they still have to get a license, but they do not have to pay the fees for said license. And then we dealt with the vendor permit, which thank you, Mr. Councilmember Rodriguez. We clarified that language that vendors are allowed to get 6 vendor permits for individual events at no charge in a calendar year. Their 7th, they do have to apply for a city business license. If they're doing that many events, they are an actual business and they need to join the club. So we clarified that language. The Chapter 113 for solicitors, we clarified that businesses that employ solicitors within the city have to get a city business license before their solicitors hit the ground. We do have a lot of companies that send people in who are out of town businesses to go door to door, and whether they're contractors, roofers, internet, a lot of different businesses that do that. And so a lot of times they slip under the radar a little bit, and now we are requiring, before we issue the solicitor licenses, that the license for the business is also obtained. We used to require that all solicitors had to present a bond to the city that essentially ensured faithful performance of whatever it is they're selling, but you have people who are literal professional solicitors who have no control over whether the company comes through. So we're now requiring that the company provide proof of insurance that proves that they have completed operations and product liability for the actions that they're doing in town, so that we're protecting the customer as best we can. We also clarified that nonprofit tax-exempt businesses that are not truly doing business, they're going door to door to either spread information or solicit funds, religious organizations, youth organizations, looking for donations, that type of thing. We do not require that they get a business license at all if they're just going door to door for those purposes. They try selling things, then that's a different thing, but generally we're not even going to require that they have a license for that. And finally, we clarified the hours that solicitors can be on the streets. Our old code used to say, I think it was 9 a.m. to sunset, and sunset is debatable. So now it's 9 a.m. to 5 during the shorter months during the winter, and 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. during the lighter months in the summer. So it is very clear when you have to stop knocking on doors. And other than that, we picked up a few little typos and cleaned stuff up, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I think you explained it very well. Any comments, discussion items?
I just appreciate all the work that's put into that. It may seem like to people some small additions, but it's a lot really that gets to review. There's so many policies that you can't review all at once. So whenever you come across things, I appreciate the staff bringing it up and making these changes and giving us the opportunity to give our feedback. In this case, like anything that helps, like I mentioned before, helps small businesses out. And I hope they run into the problem where they're like, hey, we're out of our free licenses. Now we got to apply for a real one.
Exactly.
I hope everybody has that problem. And then we can have more presentations like we did earlier for small businesses to start off and keep growing. So thank you for all that work.
And I will note again, this merely opens the public record. So if there are changes or comments that we receive that may adjust any of this in the next 30 days, we're happy to look through them, vet them, present them to council. It'll come back to, if approved tonight, it'll come back to council 30 days from now. Most likely the December meeting would be my guess because of the timing of the meetings this year, and as final action as an ordinance.
Any other comments? And I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Hearing none, it is passed. Thank you, ma'am. Item number 5, Councilwoman Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2025-080, renewal of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Sierra Vista and the Town of Huachuca City for animal care services be approved.
Second.
Been properly moved to second. Staff report, Chief Heiser.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council. With this resolution, I'm requesting renewal of our IGA with the Town of Huachuca City for animal control services. And the history behind this is since 2018, they no longer have an operating shelter due to a fire, and we've been helping them out ever since. With this IGA coming up for renewal, we looked at a different fee structure that both parties could agree to, primarily for ease of billing, also assessing just the quantity and volume of animals we typically take on average, and then also making sure that that City of Sierra Vista is recovering its long-term costs for the care and rehoming of these animals. There is one particular situation I think I inadvertently blurred in the work session the other day. I just want to clarify. So when an animal, let's say for example a dog from Huachuca City is found stray, Huachuca City Animal Control Officer brings it to our shelter. If it's claimed a couple of days later by a resident of Huachuca City, we do assess a redemption fee to that dog owner. of $8 per day, and we do that for anybody who has to come claim their animal. This particular fee structure is for those animals that are not claimed, that we end up taking in as property of our shelter, and then we make sure they get all the veterinary care, everything, so that they can be adoptable and rehomed. And some of those costs can go up on upwards of $800 per animal. And we've agreed on a progressively increasing fee schedule. One of the things that offsets that cost for us is that we use a lot of volunteer labor, and we don't want to pass it on to the town of Huachuca City. Another element to this I want to share with you is we are actually part of a working group right now that is head up by County Board of Supervisor Kathleen Gomez to look for, we're lacking this service countywide, animal shelter services, and we are looking at a countywide shelter options, and we are actually participating and helping with this. I would love to see a county shelter option become available before this 5-year agreement expires, because again, we need this service countywide, so we are helping with that. But in the meantime, this particular agreement is really, we're the City of Sierra Vista is, I think, the only shelter that can help out the town of Huachuca City, and I confident that this particular agreement will allow us to recover our costs and also give them a service. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for clarifying the price for getting their dog or animal back, and because I was wondering about that, knowing that Huachuca City will pay some amount anyway. I still think an owner that, whether it was their fault or not, they should have to pay if we took the animal in. So that's good. And thank you for taking the time to fix the fee structure. I know we were, I think, former council member Sarah Pacheco was on that first time that we approved. She just happens to be here, so I'm calling her out. But we were kind of, they had a flood and then a fire, and that poor shelter, like, it can't come back from that. So there wasn't as much time to prepare, but we learned from it, and I appreciate all the hard work that went into figuring out these numbers, and so that we can come up with a more fair agreement that will work out for everybody. And that's great news that you're going to that you are participating on the working group for the county shelter. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Any more comments, questions? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, seeing none, is passed. Item number 6, Mayor Pro Tem Humphrey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2025-081, a grant agreement with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety in the amount of $77,854 be approved.
Second. Been properly moved in second. Staff report, Chief Heiser.
Again, good afternoon, Mayor, members of council. With this particular resolution, I'm requesting approval of accepting a grant from the Governor's Office of Highway Safety for our, basically our DUI task force deployments. That's what this grant is for primarily. It is a grant total of $77,854. The breakdown is $54,643 for overtime expense, to include an additional $21,857 for employee-related expenses. And in particular, that goes toward reimbursement for the pension costs. And then in addition to that, we also have a materials line item of $1,354 to buy one preliminary breath test device and some mouthpieces. And that's to replace our current inventory. With this particular grant, it is actually very far-reaching and very productive for us, because this overtime is putting extra officers on overtime on the streets during peak periods when there's a lot of impaired driving on the roadway, and we can take enforcement action. Those are your holiday weekends and special events at different areas throughout the county. And at the work session, I shared with you a lot of pretty impressive stats. We make a difference in our community with this grant. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments for? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I really appreciate that it's possible with the off-duty officers, they're volunteering to take on this work. They're getting paid overtime for it, so it's a win-win, but I really appreciate those out there that volunteer to do this and to look out for our area and keep our community safe. And I really appreciated that you shared the stats at the work session. If you don't mind sharing them today, if you have them, just in case anybody didn't tune in or didn't hear on Tuesday. I think, 'cause
That'd be
I
my
think they're
pleasure to
really,
share those stats again.
they're really great,
So,
yeah.
yeah, and these are the 2024 stats for Southeastern Arizona DUI Task Force deployments that the Sierra Vista Police Department oversees. We have 196 DRE evaluations. Those are drug recognition expert evaluations. 91 aggravated DUI arrests. 295 misdemeanor DUI arrests. 34 extreme DUI arrests. 6 DUI arrests involving minor consumption. 250 DUI drug arrests. 6 distracted driving citations. 155 vehicle impounds. 30 seatbelt citations. 8 child restraint citations. 97 criminal speed citations. 6 aggressive driving citations, 634 civil speeding citations, 987 other traffic offenses, and 193 other arrests such as warrants and other misdemeanors.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any more questions, comments?
Just want
Yes, sir.
to, obviously, great work by everybody that's involved, all the training. I know the governor recognized some officers as well recently for similar stats, things that they've done in our community, so thank you to them. And again, just to clarify, this is not a city money-making venture. All the things, even if there's tickets given out there, that goes to the county because we do not have a court. So we're not out there to make money, and the officers are not out there to, there's no quota, there's no, building up our fund based off any of those tickets or citations. So I just want to clarify that that's still the case. All that money that is, if any is generated from those tickets or fees, goes to the county. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Any more questions, comments, discussion items? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, seeing none, it is passed. Go to item number 7, Councilman Kilmurray.
Mr. Mayor, I move that Resolution 2025-082, submission of substantial amendments to the program year 2024 action plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development be approved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Staff report, Mr. Fisher. Good afternoon, sir.
Good evening, Mayor McCaw, members of council, and members of public here present here today. Let me go ahead and pull this up in full screen here. This is Blake Fisher speaking. As mentioned, Matt McLaughlin and Michelle Landis are unable to attend this week, so I'll be covering this item in their stead. To briefly summarize what's being proposed for this update to the annual action plan, the Montebello Fire Safety Improvement Project completed under budget with $177,406.80 of remaining community development block grant funds available for reallocation. Meanwhile, Phase 1 of the Henry Jones Legacy Park has $132,660 of grant funding allocated for its development in the current program year. However, this funding amount is anticipated to be insufficient to carry out the proposed improvements. Staff, in concurrence with the recommendation provided by the Neighborhood Commission, and as previously conveyed to Council during the Annual Action Plan Priority Setting meeting, recommended the leftover grant funds from the Montebello project be reallocated to the Henry Jones Legacy Park Phase 1 development. The public comment period for the proposed substantial amendment concluded yesterday, and staff received no comments. During the work session on Tuesday, there was a question as to the cost of this Phase 1 of the Henry Jones project, and we spoke with some of the engineers. And as mentioned, the design is still in the works and out for bid, and we're anticipating to get that completed in December and possibly a little bit later, depending on when the bid comes in. But the estimate we got for that is $1,234,000, and Phase 1 includes the most northern section of the park, as well as the public infrastructure improvements that are going to be needed along Fab Avenue. And this concludes staff's report. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments, discussion items from Mr. Fisher? Yes, sir.
I just appreciate this. You never see normally a project coming under bid where you have money left over, so it's good to see this actually happen every now and then, and you're able to allocate it to something else that's also worthwhile. So it's good to see that because, like I said, you'll hardly ever see anything that's under budget these days. So good job at over budgeting. That way we have some money left over. I guess that's how it worked out. But thank you.
It was Mr. Patutek's crystal ball.
Crystal ball.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, seeing that it is passed. Go to item number 8, Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, I move that Resolution 2025-083, authorizing the Office of the City Attorney to file legal action against John A. Williams, Jr., be approved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Staff report, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. At Tuesday's work session, I described in detail the statutory and code provisions regarding abatement activities in the city. I suspect that only attorneys and code enforcement officers find those interesting, so I will spare you those details tonight. However, they still apply tonight, just like they did Tuesday. This item stems from abatement activities that were performed by the city in December of 2020 and in May 2023 on a property located at 903 Canterbury Drive, which is owned by John A. Williams, Jr. The abatement activities consisted of weed, trash, litter, debris, demolition activities, things like that, at a total cost between the two of $9,664.73. That amount constitutes a lien against the property that accrues interest and other penalties if not paid. So as of October 1st of 2025, the total that is owed by this property owner as a result of these activities is $12,531.81. That total will continue to grow until the lien is paid off in full. Under city code, property owners have 1 year, or property owners are required to repay the liens in annual installments, and if they do not do that, the city has the right to foreclose the lien against the property to recoup its costs through a sale of the property on at a public auction. And so before the city attorney's office can do that and file the foreclosure action against the property owner, we have to receive authorization from City Council. And so by approving this resolution tonight, you would be authorizing the city attorney's office to pursue foreclosure of this lien against Mr. Williams through the court process. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments, discussion items? Yes, sir.
Comments. When we talk about foreclosure, it sounds like a city's very draconian action against an individual. But one of the things we discussed during the work session was the reason we do this is it cleans up the neighborhood for the other residents and makes Sierra Vista a better place to work, because the money we actually collect is rather small. It's almost, we do this so rarely that it hardly ever happens, in fact. But just the threat of enforcement and then actually taking the action encourages residents to be better residents, I guess, and it's for the good of the community. Thanks.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
For the benefit of the open session tonight, would you mind just going through, because I know we did it in the work session, but would you mind going through the timeline once again, just so we would know how this would work if we have to actually go through a foreclosure on this property?
Absolutely. Councilmember Myers, Mayor. Once approved, typically we give the property owner one last opportunity to pay the lien. So we will send out a demand and give the property owner 30 days in which to repay the lien. If that is not done, we would file the foreclosure action with the court. Once filed, we have a period of time in which to serve that action on the property owner. We can typically get that done pretty quickly. Then they have another 20 days to respond to the foreclosure action. If they don't respond to the foreclosure action, we can ask for a default judgment taken against them. And then once that default judgment is entered, we turn the case over to the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department actually conducts the sale. Depending on their timeline, it could be anywhere from 6 months to a year. Sometimes it gets caught up in county bureaucracy. But so from the time of the demand through delivery to the sheriff, we're looking at anywhere from 3 or 4 to 6 months.
And can you also just briefly explain how we get remunerated our money and what would go back to the buyer of the lien?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm sorry, the property owner, what they would get after the purchase of the property.
Absolutely, absolutely. So our lien constitutes what we call a credit bid. So that's the minimum amount at which for which the property could be sold at the sheriff's sale. When the sheriff puts it up for auction, they start at that amount. Other bidders can come in and bid higher. If the sale, if the sheriff receives more money than what our lien is for, that extra money, those excess proceeds go to the property owner.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you. I appreciate the work on this. As I mentioned during the work session, I had to call in. I just wanted to thank the neighbors for being patient as much as they can, because I know this is frustrating. This takes way too long. I'm all for property owner rights. That's a great thing. But sometimes it's the opposite effect when you're trying to get something done in a community to remove or fix up a house, when somebody just does not want to comply. And that's what's happening with this property. And unfortunately, the neighbors suffer. And I just hope this cycle doesn't start over and over again, because they are neglecting that property and it's not doing anything for the neighborhood and the neighbors around them, but bringing their property value down, things like that. I don't ever want that to happen to anyone, so I'm glad for all the work that was done on this, code enforcement for staying on top of it, and getting this done so we can get something moving with this.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
He asked about, Councilmember Rodriguez asked about boarding up that door that was refusing to close, or were we able to get someone out there?
Yes, so that's, the request was forwarded to community development, and as far as I know, that is being taken care of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. No other discussion items. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, it is passed. Item number 9, Councilman Myers.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that resolution 2025-084, authorizing the office of the city attorney to file legal action against Rufino Dante Ong Jr. be approved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Staff report, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is a second abatement foreclosure request. From 2019 through 2025, the city had to perform abatement activities at the property located at 3011 Sierra Bermeja in Sierra Vista, Arizona. That property is owned by Rufino Dante Ong Jr. As of October 1st of 2025, the outstanding balance owed to the city as a result of these abatement activities was $5,714.25. If approved tonight, the same process would be followed as was described in the previous item.
Excellent. Discussion items. Yes, sir.
Same thing, just a little bit different here. This is not a slumlord like the other one is. This is seems to be someone that just lives out of town and cannot access the property. So there's a big difference, big circumstance, a big different, I guess, a little bit different circumstances. And I can understand if, hey, you just can't take care of your property because you're not local, can't access it, and it comes to this. Unfortunately, it goes through the same process. But so thank you again for the work that's done on this to keep the neighborhood looking good.
Any more discussion items? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, seeing none, it is passed. And tonight we have one call to the public. And one call to the public is Ms. Sarah Pacheco. Ma'am, you have 5 minutes. You will see the green light illuminated. When it is red, your time has expired. Good afternoon.
Hey. I don't see any lights on your, oh, there it is. Okay. I have to watch your lights. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you all today. I am here on behalf of the Arizona Regional Economic Development Foundation, and we wanted to share with the council our work to open the new Community Innovation Center here in Sierra Vista. We've heard concern from council that there is a need for a conference space in Sierra Vista. And with the closing of the Windermere several years ago, and then earlier this year, the sudden closure of TMAC on Post, we at ARED saw this need as well. And we have been working to transform our property on Enterprise Way, which used to be a call center. It functioned as a call center for 20 years, and then it was a school for a few years after that. And we have been working to transform it into a conference space over this past year. So we hope that this will continue that work as we go. This is a 45,000 square foot building. It is, it's being given a new life. As I said, it was a call center for 20 years, and now it is in the process of turning into a small business co-working space. a high-tech training center, and a conference space that's open for large business, community, and nonprofit events. To date, we've hosted several large charity fundraising events. These events are hosting over 300 people, and just a few weeks ago, and Mayor McCaw was there, we hosted a mental health conference focused on women's mental health. And we were able to use some of our other rooms as breakout session rooms. So we had our big space where we had general sessions, and then we broke out into smaller sessions. And next week, we're excited to host the Arizona Transportation Policy Summit, which has never come to Sierra Vista before, and it's coming to Sierra Vista for the first time. We have been working on this for well over 6 months, as Mayor Pro Tem Humphrey knows this. And we have over 300 people coming into Sierra Vista. Most of them are from out of town. We have booked, I believe it's over 70% of all available hotel rooms in the city for 3 days. And over 100 of our visitors to this conference are elected officials, and many are state legislators. So it's an exciting thing for us to be hosting in Sierra Vista. And I wanted to share with you that we're working on it. We're bringing this asset to our community and wanted you to be aware of it. The ballroom is over 16,000 square feet of open space, and that's where we host main events. And the Stronghold Multipurpose Room has over 3,000 square feet. And we have 3 additional classroom-sized spaces that are used and open to the public to use for meeting spaces that are a little bit smaller. They're classroom-sized. So we had a ribbon cutting back in August. Thank you, Councilmember Kilmurray, for attending that with us. And we're excited for next week. So I just wanted to share that with you all, the news of that. And we invite you to come visit and see the space I think every time you come, it'll look different because we're kind of chipping away at it, one thing at a time, getting it done. So we hope that it will continue to be an asset to the community. And I also see value as trying to attract more large business and professional association type conferences to our area. We get to show off our community. We get to showcase all of the great things that we have to offer in Sierra Vista. And we bring that business and into our hotels and restaurants and everything for the week. So this is a good opportunity for us. Wanted to share it with you. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And we have our comments and requests of the council. Councilwoman Jackson, I don't think she's on. Councilwoman Jackson, you there? No, she's not on. And we go to Councilman Kilmurray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First thing I wanted to start out with was the executive report that we received during the work session on Tuesday. It's the second one that I've actually reviewed since joining the council, and it's the first one I fully read and really absorbed and really understood the value of that document. It identified all the unknowns to me, the inner workings of the city that I didn't really understand, what the numbers were, how many arrests there were, how many calls from the fire department, the state of our roads, the libraries. All of those details is just extremely valuable as a snapshot to everything that the staff is doing for the city every single day, and kind of a little appreciation letter that we get once per quarter for how long we actually receive that briefing. And so I gotta say, it's just a fantastic effort by the staff and well worth the time to read in depth. And then, so about the jail district ballot initiative. Yesterday, in-person voting opened for the 4 November ballot initiative, approve or disapprove the Cochise County Jail District. The bottom line is the county needs a new jail, and it's needed it for several years. I'm not going to take this time to list all the justifications for the new jail, except to say that the cost of building a jail now is far less than the cost of not building the jail and the opportunity cost that we have. It's not just a county concern either. The ballot question is not whether or not we're going to build the jail. That's kind of baked into the conversation. It's how to pay for it. That's really the question in making this jail district. We can pay for it now with a predictable funding source shared across the entire county, or pay for it later after some unknown, completely foreseeable emergency causes pushes the county's hand, and they end up pouring unknown piles of money to put out the fire. And who's going to be on the hook for those unknown piles of money is predominantly Sierra Vista. We're going to be on the hook for those costs, and they're going to be unbudgeted costs. So without a identified funding source, which is the 1/2 cent sales tax, the sheriff would likely have to charge Sierra Vista PD a per prisoner price, much like we charge Huachuca City for animal control, except for in this case, it's actually we're dealing with dangerous criminals, and there's a public safety aspect to this. And currently, the unbudgeted price tag could exceed $500,000 per year, and that's based on 2016 numbers. So presumably, those numbers would be much higher today. So we're really talking about cost avoidance by being proactive with the jail. And so if we do come up with the unfunded mandate, that'll mean the city manager is going to be asking the city council to completely reprogram many of our high priority or existing priorities, roads, parks, fire, medical, everything that I just talked about in the executive report that the city does. All those funds will have to be cut back so we can pay our share of the jail, whatever that looks like. So this plea probably would have been better spent if I had gotten off the stick and actually written a supporting argument for the voter publicity pamphlet. And I think it would have been even better if we could have, if I'd acted early to gather up maybe a consensus from the council to push for it and let the people know what the council thinks and what the impacts are on Sierra Vista. That didn't happen. I don't think it's worth trying to add to the next agenda, so I'll let it drop there. Okay, the next item I have is the golf course. So last month I requested and so this is actually a request of staff. Last month I requested a list of golf course investments and utilities paid. Came out to about $800,000 to date, which I thought was a pretty reasonable investment. And then in the last city work session, I found out about a $5 million budgeted for additional improvements that lowered the operating costs of the golf course, which the city actually doesn't pay. And then previously, I thought that was a citywide bill, but it turns out that was actually specific to the golf course. And then this week, Tuesday, I found out about another $1 million budgeted item to improve the clubhouse. And that one was specifically, it could lead to city competing with private businesses. For example, the Economic Development Foundation, the call to the public, is actually providing that space. And my thoughts are the city shouldn't be competing with private industry on things like that. We're in the business of governing, not in the business of business. So I want to reiterate, I am not an opponent of a golf course. I fully support the decision the council made last year to take control of it and hire a qualified vendor to run it. But I do need to understand the full scope of the city investments so it helps me in my mind balance those against the other priorities that we have, particularly when unexpected costs, for example, increased cost of a jail, as just a small example, could come up and we're balancing priorities. And what in turn return on the investment looks like, whether that's growth opportunities provided to the city or actual cash back that we get in the form of kickbacks, or it's not kickback. That's not the correct word.
Yeah, it's not a good word.
Rebates from the from our vendor. 2% growing up to 4% over 5 years. So here's my request. My request is at an upcoming work session as soon as possible. Can we get a presentation of the city's complete actuals and projected budget for the golf course through the end of this fiscal year, 2026? That would include, the acquisition costs, electricity, water, everything that we are paying for the golf course, our entire, not just our investment, but our entire expenditures. And then second, what is the city's revenue share since the contract's inception? So the 2% that we've received so far on a quarterly basis. If we could have that data, and recognizing that number is never going to pay for the golf course. You know, the golf course is an investment in our city, not a money-making endeavor. And with that, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. We go to Councilwoman Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's lots going on this time of year. More events and things are kicking off, so there's always something to do in Sierra Vista. I just wanted to point out that this Saturday from 3 to 5 at the Huachuca Art Association, it's located at 1835 Paseo San Luis. If you didn't know, it's a really cool building. They have all kinds of different local artists. They have their art showcase there. So this Saturday, it gives you an opportunity to go. They have 3 artists that are being featured, and they're having a reception for them. So definitely check it out if you haven't yet. They also have things that you can buy gifts for, friends or families. So it's on Paseo San Luis, Saturday from 3 to 5. At the Nancy J. Burr Animal Care Shelter, there is a senior spotlight going on right now. They're showcasing some senior animals there. They have them. They have their pictures on Facebook. So if you want to check that out, so there's 3 that they have showcased on Facebook. One of them is Molly, a 13-year-old dog, Otis, a 9-year-old dog, and Pepper, a 13-year-old dog. So if you are looking to maybe bring a new family member into your house, I definitely recommend going out there and checking them out. I feel like all dogs are good dogs, and these dogs, for whatever reason, they don't have a home, and they're older senior dogs. So I don't, maybe they feel a little confused out there by themselves. So I urge you to go out there and take a look, check them out. Maybe you know somebody that might want to bring one of them home. Maybe you do. So that's something that you can check out, or whatever other pets that are there. They all would love to have a home with you, and they may be your new best friend. So check them out. And at the Sierra Vista Police Department, lots of awareness is being raised. So they have the purple in domestic violence bracelets. Mr. Mayor, hold up your arm. They have those that are available if you can check them out in the police department. I think this is a really great way to raise awareness. Somebody asks, what is that? And you can let them know. I think it's really important to talk about domestic violence and what's going on. And you never know who's listening. If you talk about the resources that are available in Sierra Vista, you never know who might be looking for resources like that. And it is a very scary situation to be in. Sometimes if you're a domestic violence if you're somebody that's experiencing that, you've learned not to trust people and not to trust other people. And so, you might feel ashamed or scared to reach out to ask for help. But if you hear some of the resources that are available, then maybe that will give you a little bit of courage to step out there and get away from the situation that you're in. So I really appreciate that they do that every year, and they put the lights out there. I think it's a great way to bring attention to for people to ask questions and to learn more, and maybe find out some of the resources that are available that they were not aware of. The more that people know, the more people that know about the resources, the better that we're able to reach the people that are looking for them and that really need them. They also have the pink patches for breast cancer awareness that are available. We have some people rocking those, and there's also a Facebook post about that. So you can go to the office, and they have a button or a pin, and they have some different patches that are available. I think that's a really great thing that they're doing. It started last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's a really great thing that they're doing to raise awareness and to bring attention to this. And I wanted to encourage everybody to touch their tatas. I think it's very important you get to know your body, and if there's any changes, I think it's super important to do that. Get a spouse to help you, a partner. If you have a special friend, I'm sure that they would love to help you out. It's very important to talk about, and it's not just for women. It also happens to men as well. So make sure that you're touching your tatas on a regular basis, and if anything feels weird or you're concerned about it, get it checked out, because the sooner that you find out about if anything's going on, the better you're able to take care of and handle that. So I just wanted to share my appreciation and make sure that everybody is aware of that. And with that, be blessed and blessed be.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Myers.
Okay. I might need a diagram for that last one, but I actually was going to just say I didn't have anything, but when Councilman Kilmurray brought up the golf course, I just thought I was going to expand on that just a little bit. I'm not an opponent of the golf course either, and I came in after the whole decision about acquiring the golf course. I actually support the decision to acquire the golf course after the fact because everything I've seen indicates that we acquired it below value and saved the city residents decreased property value. So I think that was a smart move. Again, after the fact, me looking at it, post-mortem, I guess. But I also agree with what Councilman Kilmurray said, that as a city, we should not be in the business of business. That's just the fiscal conservative side of me that agrees with what he said there. And I'm troubled a little bit by how the city-run golf course is beginning to compete with our small businesses. Case in point, Ms. Pacheco was talking about, having a conference center here in town, and that's not the only conference center. There's a few others that I'm aware of, not many, but a few. And so there's a little bit of encroachment that's occurring there, not much, but some. And we're not a big city, and so the few small businesses that we have, the golf course is becoming kind of like the big logo event here in town, and it's going to overshadow some of the small business. It's my understanding, this is just off the top of my head, we acquired it for roughly $600,000. This was from Castle and Cook, who left in the middle of the night, and now it's worth, roughly $2.5 million, and we're putting more money in it. During the work session, we talked about roughly $1.5 million in upgrades. There's code that needs to be met. There's upgrades to, make it ADA compliant and whatnot. What kind of troubles me is that we talk about a year and a half ago when we acquired it, there was no buyer and we did what we had to do. But from what I understand, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, there doesn't seem to be any effort whatsoever to solicit buyers. And if it's worth a certain amount of money now, even if we were to try to solicit buyers and make it even more lucrative, we're going to come out ahead if we were to sell it anything above $600,000. Even if we sold it for 1.6. That's just me talking out loud. But again, I have some concerns about holding on to it long term. And I just thought I would, because it was brought up, because Councilman Kilmurray brought it up, I thought I would just go ahead and throw it out there in the open session. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. And we'll go to Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the call of the public. It's great information. At the League of Cities and Towns, there was a huge buzz about the Rural Transportation Conference coming up in our town. So it was good to hear our town mentioned for good reasons by people outside of Sierra Vista. For once, it's good to hear that, right? In the news for good reason. So I'm looking forward to that influx and for all of our hotels to be sold out and to get our tax numbers up for that month. Yes, great. Thank you. We had our first youth council meeting, September 30th, this past month. We had elections. They got their first project going. It's called Imprints of Honor. So they're going to be interviewing veterans in the community or in their family, and they'll be publishing a book that gets sent to the Library of Congress, which is an awesome project. So we're still partnering with Peaches Pantry, and we have Sarah Pacheco in the audience as well. One of her many hats. So she'll be helping us out with that as a 501c3 as well. And Mr. Dimitri Simonson, who's on his many hats too with Cultivate Coach East, is also a 501c3. So great partners. I'm so thankful for them. We'll be meeting the last Tuesday of each month at 6049 Highway 92, Suite number 2. So we'll have to update the website to say that for the Youth Council, if we can put it on there so people know. It's just past the Canyon Vista Hospital. It was good to meet the new CEO of Canyon Vista at the open house they had recently. So some good rundown. They gave numbers-wise. One of the bigger numbers there is 19.9 million in taxes they paid to the community from the hospital themselves. So pretty big number there. So good to meet them and all the information that was out. National Night Out was a huge success as always. The weather was perfect. It's one of those events where every year you never know what's going to happen weather-wise, but it held out amazing. So all the agencies were there. Chief was a little chilly in the water, but thanks for toughing it out, Chief.
Yep. It's like 100 cold plunges.
Yes. You did well up there. Everybody loved it. And I ran away before they tried to get me in there. But it was good. All the agencies that are out there, even the ones that aren't getting paid right now, were there. So I thank them personally for being there, even though they're not getting paid at this point. So special shout out to Sierra Vista Fire Department. They did some training / ladder truck to get the flagpole fixed over at Landmark Cafe. They had some issues out there with their flag, so it was good. A good partnership there, taking care of our business on the west end, whatever we can. We have a nice ladder truck that we can do things like that for. So I'm glad they fixed their flagpole out there. So shout out to them and that crew. I want to say it's from Station 2 because it's a ladder truck, right? So probably one of the Station 2 crews. Fall break skate. All right, we've had a lot of pop-up skating events. There's one tomorrow, Friday and Saturday. So it's over at the AZ Prep Academy, the gym that's in the back. They've been using that for these until they get the gym done. So it's temporary, but it's a good event to get the family out there. They have two sessions, 3 to 6 p.m. and 6:30 to 10 p.m. It's $5 to get in, and if you don't have skates, you can rent skates for $5 more. So $10 is not bad to have a good, fun skating night. They normally have snacks and music, and it's a really fun event. We don't have a skating rink in town. A lot of people ask, why don't we have one? This is your opportunity to go out there and have some fun. And if there's enough interest, maybe a small business owner will want to look into that, eventually. So go check that out. Something for everybody to do. And then right now going on, we have the concert series, our fall concert series at the park. Bipolar weather, which is very, very fitting for this weekend's weather. So they're out there playing. They're an American Jazz Fusion Ensemble. So check them out. And every Thursday, go from on out for the next however how many weeks it is. Go check it out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Luckily, a lot of what I was going to say was mentioned by Sarah Pacheco because she's been a tremendous, AVED has been a great partner for us because we found out we were going to be, we knew we were due to host the Rural Transportation Summit, and we definitely didn't want to miss the opportunity to bring in all these people into Sierra Vista. And she's right, many of them are elected officials at the state level, and we even have we have quite a few people from ADOT coming down, and I think Juan Siscamani is making us a video, So it's a big deal, and we couldn't have done it without their help, so we're really appreciative. And also, these conferences, it's different parts of Arizona always take turns hosting it, and it's always accompanied by a golf tournament the first day. I don't know why I'm not, but I guess elected officials in golf for some reason. But so thank you, Lara, for helping with our director set that whole thing up. And we have a lot of local private partners helping with different catering and vendor. They're providing all sorts of services for us. So this has been a big boon to the economy already. Even before it's happening, I plan my wedding around this event, so I'm looking forward to it. And when I return for our next meeting, I'll have my new last name. And thank you. and apparently it's lucky to have rain on your wedding day, but I'm not feeling that way. But I am. Yeah, I'm excited, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. This morning, had the privilege of having breakfast with pastors in Sierra Vista. Father Greg was there. Also, Mr. Nathan Williams, he was there as well. Was offering some things about what's going on in the city. So Nathan made sure I was in my left and right limits. Hope I did okay.
You're fine.
Excellent. Also, Buena football tomorrow night. Hopefully it won't be a rainy one. We're playing Vista Grande from Phoenix, so hopefully we'll beat them down. And also tomorrow at 11 o'clock, we have Faith in Blue at Lloyd's Place. Lloyd's Place over on, that's not Tacoma.
14 East Tacoma.
Tacoma, yep. 14 East Tacoma. So if you have any time available, I know Fort Huachuca has time available since they're not working. Please come and join us. I'm sorry. Yeah. Please come and join us at 11 o'clock. It's from 11 to 2, I think it is.
Correct.
11 to 2. And they have free food. Free food. That's what Michelle told me. So with that, I like that. Be blessed. Blessed be.
Yeah. Bonus points to say it twice.
Oh.
If we both say it.
We both say it?
Bonus points.
it makes it a perfect day.
It does.
All right, we're dismissed.